Get the hard-hitting stuff out of the way. Did you, that was you giving Tank Dale a carry, right?
Yeah, I was trying to get him out the pile.
Protect the investment there.
Oh, absolutely.
What was that like to feel that moment, especially considering it factored in a lot of your guys?
Yeah, I just think it was a pretty cool moment, not only for obviously Boogie and Donovan. It's pretty good execution. Man, Jack made a hell of a play, but it's a pretty good moment for our team. We knew it was going to be a four-quarter fight, just like the rest of the games we have, and for those dudes to stay up kind of after that blow and just, continue to fight and finish the game off, I think that was pretty neat. I think our team needed that.
Can you take us through that play, like the technical aspects of what Man Jack is supposed to do as a jumper and then the trailers?
Yeah, so we had Sam and Man Jack on the outside. Those are the jumpers. Sam was actually supposed to continue to go and get to the back of the end zone for any tips. So I think Man Jack just made a natural play on the ball, tried to catch it, but it got knocked out, and Boogie was just in the right place at the right time. It was a hell of a catch by Boogie for him to get that ball and hold on to it. That was pretty impressive.
We haven't had a lot of time with Boogie, but is there, how would you describe him? And is there anything about him that when you met him, sort of jumped out?
Oh, well, Boogie, he's going to continue to get better as a football player, but he's just a good kid. He's got a great personality. He's pretty outgoing. He gives our room a good spark. He's an energy guy. The boys love him. They love to be around him, but it's just fun coaching that kid. He continues to get better. He's a great teammate.
In the recruiting, I think his last year was at DeSoto.
Sir.
And then before that, he was at Lancaster.
Yeah, he was at Lancaster.
But there's also a tie here in Houston. So
yeah.
Is it just a matter of moving around? Or
yes.
Was it hard to track him?
I think he started off in the Heights. So I think he was at Houston Heights with Coach Dixon, and then, he made the move over to Lancaster and then went to DeSoto. But he might have started in Houston before I got the receiver's job, I want to say. And then when he was at DeSoto, we kind of found out about him late. And then I think we touched on that before, and he ended up going to Oklahoma State. But I'm happy we got him.
Did Matthew Golden practice yesterday?
Yes, he did.
So
he's back. Yeah, he's good. He's good. I think he just had a groin that was bothering him and lingering him around. And obviously at the time, Boogie was playing good ball, so it's just no need to, try to rush him and get him in there.
How would you describe the progress of your unit as a whole through six?
Yeah. I think, the biggest thing is that group works pretty hard. So anytime you have a hard-working group, you're going to naturally get better. I don't know what you're going to get better at, but you're going to get better at something. But I think those guys are pretty close. We got a tight-knit group, just as much as our team as well. But those guys, they love each other, they care about each other, and then they push each other too as well. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, they're starting to be a little bit of player-led. And as long as those guys continue to get along, they play well and they play hard for each other. So that's the most exciting thing.
What's the process been like for Jonah and Daikiel? Just Dana mentioned the sort of the injuries that held them back a little bit, but as freshmen, have you been able to just maybe let them sit back a little bit and watch and kind of absorb?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So obviously, Coach mentioned on the injuries that held them back, but the thing is with those guys, I mean, obviously they were big recruits, but nobody wants to see them play more than myself. I promise you that. I'm eager to watch those guys, and I can't wait for whenever they get their opportunity. But it's sometimes better for those guys to kind of take the backseat role and look, how things are done and the work and the everything that goes into it leading up to game day, because a lot of people think you go out there and play ball, and it doesn't really work like that at this level. I mean, everybody's pretty talented, so you got to work your butt off, and they're doing a good job mentally and physically, staying in the right head space and just, waiting for their opportunity. I'm be excited to get those guys going, sometime in the near future.
During recruiting, did they buy into that, or is that something they had to deal with once they got here? Obviously during the recruiting, everybody wants to get here and play early. I think when they kind of got here, they both did some pretty good things in camp and, leading up to these moments. They just got to keep working and keep chugging away. I think the older guys in the room and some of the guys that played earlier just kind of, tell them to be patient and, just keep working and their time will come. I think Jacoby's doing a hell of a job with that too, by the way. He's continually getting better. And he's played some snaps the last 2 games of special teams. I think he's going to be just fine for us too as well.
St. Brown has obviously had a big year so far, and then in that game he had a big block to let Justin and Jack score, and then had the touchdown. What have you seen just from a maturity level, just over the offseason and then this year?
Yeah. Well, one, Sam's a good kid. I mean, obviously he's made some mistakes in the past, but just everybody, that's human nature. But I think as far as maturing mentally was a big thing for him. I think he's understanding that he's around genuine people that have his best interest. And he's just doing a good job. I mean, that kid's a product of hard work. He's been working his tail off, and, he's been rewarding some of that. And then, like I said, those guys play hard for each other. So anytime we don't, the ball's not in our hands, we need to be, turn and find work. And he did that on Manjak's touchdown. Manjak broke a tackle, and Sam's block led him into the end zone. I think that was a pretty cool moment for those two.
When you have a guy that's talented like that, there's the one coming into a season, and
Yeah.
you want to prove you're good, you're in a league. But with him, because that other stuff was so visible,
Yeah.
it sort of lead him to maybe have to come in and prove that there's more to him. That's not what's going to define him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the talent with Sam has always been there. I mean, if you look at him, he's a unique looking kid. He's big, he's strong, he can run. The biggest thing is just making sure he's mentally on point, and he's been doing a great job of that. He's maturing. He's having fun. So his kid's just playing ball at a high level right now. He's just having fun with his teammates.
With the block that he made on that play, do y'all analyze that? Do you keep track of guys, their blocks on the outside?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, well, in the position room we do, so we just try to make an emphasis of, getting somebody into the end zone. Like, what do you do when the ball's not in your hands? And Sam's a physical player. He blocks pretty well on the perimeter. And obviously he wants to, not only see our guys get in the end zone, but whoever has the ball get in the end zone. So we try to do our job, to just do our job.
When you guys had Tank and he was targeted so much, it was maybe hard to get a feel or read on what some of those other guys could
Yeah.
do. Was there something with Sam last year versus now that sort of been maybe a leap, a big leap?
Yeah. So Sam, before last year, he hasn't really played a lot of college snaps. And he kind of had a slow start those first 4 games. But the games that he did start and he ended up playing last year, I mean, he helped us win ball games. And, he had the setback last year when he banged his knee up. And then obviously he banged his knee up. But just, going into this offseason, he was hungry. I think he did a good job. He worked pretty hard to get himself in this position. And now he's just continuing to build off of that.
How the hell did he make that catch in the end zone?
Sam?
Yeah.
That was a great ball by Donnie. He put it where only Sam could get it, and that was just him being, God's gift to him with some pretty good genetics and athletic ability, and he made a hell of a play on the ball.
Dalton.
Yeah.
Barnes, just going back to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that, your room's been pretty, you've had guys step up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it like having a guy like that, knowing his journey that he's
Yeah.
going through?
Well, the Tech, that was an unbelievable moment for Dalton. Well deserving, because that kid, he works his tail off. He's a guy we can, you feel comfortable putting him at any position and know that he's going to line up right and do the job at a high level. But, I think that was pretty good for him, to give him some confidence. And, he's been playing a few snaps on special teams. His offensive role has increased a little bit. He's just, bought in. I think not only for him, but the room as well was just as excited for him to see him get in the end zone. I think that was a pretty cool moment for him.
Daikiel has, with Matthew being now sort of the guy out on the return, has that cut into much of what you want to do with him in the receiving game, or do you have to sort of balance that a little bit more?
Not so. I wouldn't say that cut into that. I mean, we recruited Matt to be a football player, so it's something, when we're recruiting him, we realize like he finds his way into the end zone, and that's just what we're doing now with him in the return game. I think he's, found a way into the end zone in every game except one. But that's who that kid is, no matter where we put him, his special teams or offense, he should be able to give us a little spark. And then, Boogie's playing that same position as well, and they're pretty close friends. So, I think Matt does a pretty good job of, going hard, to try to get his success, but he also wants to see, Boogie do well. So I think he'll be just fine. Matt's a great kid and a great teammate, so everything we're doing with him now is, is pretty good.
Can we go back to Dalton for just a bit? So he came here a year ago as a walk-on.
Yes, he did.
Bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, he actually came after fall camp too, so he started.
Oh, because he
Bear
had
scratch.
to be in school.
Yeah,
before.
absolutely.
Yeah. So he gets here middle of August and had to work his way
Yes.
to getting snaps in the spring.
Yes.
Right? How does a guy do that? How do you work your way from August 15th of
Yeah.
last year to catching first half touchdowns.
I think, one, it just shows who that kid is. I mean, he comes from a great support system. I got a chance to meet his family. They're great people. But, he took advantage of his snaps in the spring. He didn't get many, but when he got his snaps, he took advantage. He was always making a play, whether that was getting the ball or blocking on the perimeter. He was going to line up right. And he kind of, he took that momentum from the spring into the summer, and then into the summer into fall camp, and then now here we are. He's, a core special teams guy, and he's playing a little bit of offensive snaps, and he's just, he's taking advantage of every opportunity.
Joshua Cobbs, I guess you got him back last week.
Yes.
You feel like, you guys run, what, six or seven out there that you guys can regularly go to. Is that a nice
Yeah.
thing to have?
Absolutely. Josh, before he got hurt, before he got banged up in that Sam Houston game, I thought he was playing his best ball yet. He looked pretty fast. He was in sync. He was coming into his own. Obviously, he got hurt that game, but having him back, just around the boys and in the room, I think that's going to be big for us. The boys like him, and, seeing him on the field will give us a little bit of a juice.
This week with Texas, from a secondary standpoint,
Yeah.
what do you see from them in terms of, how that matchup?
Yeah, well, Texas, they're extremely talented. Record speaks for itself. They got some pretty good wins. I know they came off a tough loss against OU, which was a great game. But, they're big, they're long in the secondary experience, but, they're a good football team. Looking forward to the matchup.
You don't necessarily have to be from Texas to sort of, in West Virginia, I'm sure have
Yeah.
a big game. Is that just the nature of how that goes when, you got Alabama or
Yeah.
USC, that, this is a game that's, people get up for or
Yeah.
people get excited about?
Absolutely. I would definitely say people are going to get excited, especially, fan-based players, and get up for it. At the end of the day, it's still another game. You just need to go out there, play football, play as a team and execute. I would say, being from the North and playing at West Virginia, obviously you got up to play Texas, but now living here, it's a little bigger than you would think.
You any closer to figuring out why they call him Boogie?
Boogie, I didn't even ask. That was just his nickname growing up. His family called him that. I can't even tell you how many times I said his actual real name. I always just call him Boogie.